Will, this should be, in my opinion, the primary question that we're asking when it comes to political policy, but there are very, very few people who are asking whether this is a wise course of action.
Yeah, look, it's like, what you're asking there essentially is what costs are we willing to accept? Are we willing to go 18 months with a depression, a Great Recession, a Great Depression? I mean, where are we willing to go with this on relatively incomplete data? Like you said, in the United States, there's a case fatality rate of 1.6%. Of course, there's deep selection bias in there because people who go to the hospital have the most severe cases. There are people in the United States who have most certainly had this virus and healed on their own. They didn't have to go to a hospital. They didn't have to, they probably didn't even know that they had it. So what's going on is you have these inflated case fatality rates like the one the college used, the 3.4% in China. Even the CDC and WHO came out and said, look, in China, the case fatality rate was 3.4%, but we expect that to drop dramatically as we learn more. We never really understood the total amount of cases in China. Look, testing has just developed. You asked why we didn't have random sampling in the United States. We've just gotten testing. So none of the case fatality rates are correct because they don't know how many people have actually had the disease. Now, myself, my family, people in my hometown, they depend on the service industry in order to survive. They can't do takeout. They're an hour and a half outside of New York City. They depend on city people to go up there and order food. There's not enough people around in order to do takeout. These are the people who are harmed. I don't know if they've been in business 60 years. Who knows if they'll ever be able to open up their business again? My dad is 73 years old. He has diabetes. He has heart disease. He has high blood pressure. These are all the things that put him at high risk, too. I mean, and I'm still asking, what costs and lengths are we willing to go? It seems that, everybody brings up the case of Italy. No one talks about that Italy has the second, oldest population in the world. The United States has one of the youngest populations of the world. It's going to affect Italy a lot more. Italy has 60 million people. Most of those people have been exposed to the virus. Probably tenfold more have been infected. So, there's about, I think it just surpassed China today, about 3,400 deaths in Italy. So you got to kind of factor that into the case fatality rate. And there's a lot of people, pundits on TV who are talking, who have no idea what they're talking about. They haven't looked at any of the data. As you mentioned, you're talking about a fellow who's an epidemiologist. Do you hear that anywhere else? Do you hear anybody else saying that, or is it just instilling panic and fear?